Welcome to Magic to Millions,
We document this guy's journey
where I take this stuff.
and turn it into this stuff.
All right, guys, welcome back. So this week I'm going to go over two things. I had a offer on a collection to purchase. I'm not going to give out the person's name or the contents of it because it's potentially still in limbo. And then the other thing that I'm going to be looking at is the serialized cards, right? We'll start with the collection to buy because it's a bit of a market update, I think. No, I'm going to do the other way around. We'll start with the serialized cards. So the serialized cards have now been around since Brothers War. Brothers War started off with, I think it was like 63,000 serialized cards, something like that. I pulled one, sold it for like $250, something like that. Paid for the box I pulled it from. I did great in the singles and stuff. It was a great flipping opportunity, right? Made my money, sold the rest of the boxes from the little box that I got because I didn't. Apparently, you can pull multiple out of the same thing. I got the big hit. This is what everyone else is doing. Kind of, it's whatever. Sold all the singles, sold the loose boxes, let people have their fun. Did my thing. I think I bought like 20 or something like that. I know you can get multiples from cases, but since I hit it so early, I was like, just let RNG determine the rest of it. They held their price pretty good. The big serial numbers, the 1, the 69, 420, 222, 333, 444, 500. Certain numbers obviously are more appealing for certain people than other ones. The prices were pretty stable. They were pretty excited. And I think the general consensus for those was everyone wanted like at most one a year. What we then got this year was one of the March of the Machine sets. I think it was Mom had them. Mom stuck in a dryer. Anyone? No? Yeah? Okay. Mom had them. And they did, I think it was I don't know the exact count on them because I didn't buy any of the set. I wasn't very excited about it. The singles didn't excite me. There just wasn't a lot of like pizzazz for me to rip that set open. So I just didn't do it. The serial numbers were again 1 in 500. They went up in price a little bit depending on the number, but now like they're kind of just sitting. Brothers War serial cards are just sitting. And now we're rolling into the third set with serialized cards, Lord of the Rings. When sports cards first started doing serialized cards, and MetaZoo also started doing serialized cards, they were really great in small doses, and they're limited, right? Everyone wants limited stuff. And a big misconception is not everyone wants limited stuff. So your buyer pool gets more limited the more serialized cards there are, the more that get released. The buyer pool gets smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. Or this buyer pool has to keep dumping in insane amounts of money over and over and over and over again so that they can maintain the population or continue ownership of the population of serialized cards. So we have now hit Lord of the Rings. The prices are kind of psychotic. People have offered 9,000, 7,000, or 9,000, 7,000, 5,000, or 7,000, 9,000, 7,000, 3,000, something like that for the 1 of 500s on the Elf, Dwarf, and Human Rings. One of them has already been sold to the gentleman, I believe. Once he purchases the 1 of 1s, what's left? I don't really think I'm seeing really big cash offers for the other rings. Like there's that initial FOMO that's hitting, so some people are paying like upwards of $1,000, I think, for some of them, and specifically the elf rings. There's only 300 of them. The dwarf rings are not super hyped. The human rings are very much not hyped. People want them, but like the prices are quickly going down. So why am I talking about this, and why did I talk about Bro, and why did I talk about the Mom serialized cards? As we get more and more of these out, just like what happened with sports cards, like what happened with MetaZoo, because MetaZoo did the chase card thing, they did 1 of 10, then they started adding a couple more serialized cards, and then they did their Tops release, where there's literally more serialized cards than non-serialized cards in the set. which is backwards. Like, your foils shouldn't be rarer than your serialized cards, which are supposed to be less than 100 or 200 or 300 or 400 or whatever it is. That's very, very backwards. We now have that happening with MTG. We have Bro, which came out with tens of thousands of them, Mom, which came out with tens of thousands of them, and now we have Lord of the Rings, which is now adding thousands more to the population. And Lord of the Rings is a very unique IP. It's very beloved. It's very hyped. There's a lot of popularity with the set. The cards seem to be pretty good. And my biggest concern about this set was that it was going to be serialized card or bust. Oh, well, that's great. Cards are cheap for the players, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, it is great for the players, but, as someone that, even if my cost basis is, say, like $3.25 a box from distribution, I think my original offer was like $3.35 from one distro. Someone else offered me $3.30. Then I had a flash sale from MVP for like $2.99. In hindsight, I probably should take the MVP flash sale, but I mean, it is what it is. I don't really care. I could have made like $50, $60 a box, and if I had dumped 10 grand in and picked up like 100 boxes, oh, not even 100 boxes. What is that? Like 30 boxes. I would have made like $1,800. Pay shipping, fees. It's just, that's a lot of money to dump in for 10% back when I can go buy a graded collection for, let's say, also $10,000 that has, pop 10 to 20 unlimited cards, pop 10 to 20 beta cards, crazy nice stuff. Even stuff that's not pop 10 to 20 with like, BGS 9s and things like that. Cards that are worth thousands of dollars in the aftermarket that are older, never being reprinted. Why would I dump 10 grand into modern, make $1,000, or I can dump 10 grand into some slabs and either A, flip them for a couple of grand at the same price, or B, sit on them for a year or two and wait for the market to kind of recover a little bit and then basically double my money after a couple of years. It just doesn't, the math just doesn't make sense. So I think what we're going to start seeing is more and more of these serialized cards come out. If they had kept it to one set a year, it would have been great, because then the buyer pool has time to rebuild their wallet. There's always that influx of cash. Everyone's waiting. They'll save up a couple $100 a month. They'll get their serialized cards, and it keeps the market healthy. The problem is when they start releasing 2, then 3, then 4. Now every set has serialized cards. How many times can they do the one-of-one ring, or how many times can they do a one-of-one card? And the gimmick starts to fade. Sports cards kind of had this happen a little bit. Now there's like the one-of-one refractor, and the one-of-one this, and the one-of-one that, and the 1 of 10 signature, and the 1 of whatever this, and the this and that. There's so many variations and so many signature cards and so many limited number cards now. It's crazy. And sports cards as an industry is exponentially larger than MTG, Pokemon, and everything else put together. It is incredibly common, even in this bear market, for a sports card to sell upwards of 6 figures or more. No questions asked. Like, there's just buyers ready to go. There's always someone ready to buy that Babe Ruth card. Someone always ready to buy that 1-of-1 Shohei Ohtani. There's always someone waiting with 50 to 100K in cash. And that's just the size of the market. And right now in Magic, we do not have that healthy of a market. We cannot sustain 10,000, 20,000, 40,000, 50,000 serialized cards entering the market every single year, because everyone's wallets are still in shock. Like, everyone's wallets are in pain. Even mine, to a certain extent. I mean, I'm still selling stuff, constantly rotating and moving, and constantly rotating and moving. It's one of those things where it's just not sustainable in this market right now. There's not enough money coming in to handle that kind of influx. Now, if the market was different, it was a good market, and we had really good, everything was just flying off the shelves, and everything's moving, and there's buyers, and there's sellers, and everyone's just going crazy, you can make an argument for, 2 or 3 sets of serialized cards a year to, throw that stuff out there. But when the market's already as fragile as it is, people like me are not buying $10,000, $20,000, and $30,000 graded collections, and we're not buying that much in modern sealed anymore either. Which means that that value is just not there. And it will probably, long term, it'll be fine. Like in 3 or 4 years, these serialized cards will be great. They'll all be bought off the market. There won't be many left. It'll be really cool when a new one gets open and it'll sell for $1,000 or something. Who knows? Or it could just be that they've just been so flooded outside of the 1 of 500, the 69 of 500, the special 1, 2, 3, 4, 500 numbers or whatever it is, whatever those special numbers are. Those may be the only ones that are desirable. They may be the only really expensive ones. The rest of them might just be $200. I don't know. But I do know that if they keep producing massive quantities of them like they are, it's going to turn into the sports cards, serialized cards, where some of them are really crazy expensive, but they're going to have to keep adding more 1 of 1s and more 1 of 10s and make it even rarer and more special and harder to pull and even greater and even more rare. Like, it's just not a sustainable system to just constantly spam out like that. And you have to be the size of the sports card industry to even try and keep up with that kind of volume. And the sports cards now has gotten to the point where they're including like cutoffs of people's jerseys and stuff, and they're hand signed, and you have to mail in the redemption card because it won't actually fit into a pack normally. Like, what's Magic gonna do? The original arts are all digital now. The old arts are all paintings, and they're all owned by private collectors, so they can't do that. Are they going to have a 1 of 1 hand signed by the artist? I mean, you can just go to the convention and just get one signed by an artist for like $5 or $10. Like, there's not that, oh, let me cut the jersey of the T-shirt of the guy that won Magic in 2012, the world champ. Like, no, that doesn't exist in Magic. That scalability and those options don't exist. So you run into this inevitable problem of having too many of them, and that was my ultimate fear of serialized cards being introduced, was that there would just be straight up too many of them. And it looks like that's the path they're going down now, which is unfortunate. They're going to be more gimmicky. It is what it is. I'm probably not going to be buying any because I just don't think there's money in them, and it's just not. To me, I'm too risk adverse to that kind of thing. Like, if I had $100 million to blow, sure, I'd buy a bunch of them because why not? Screw it. But I don't. So I'm kind of risk adverse to those kind of assets because, like, realistically speaking, if you don't move it quickly and get out from underneath it, or you don't just buy it for just a stupid price. Like, I'd buy all the serial cards I can get my hands on for like $30-$40 a piece. But they don't sell for that right now. And even the Brothers War ones, some of them are down in like the hundreds now, I think. And even the crappy ones are selling in 200 plus range. And that's just kind of like, that is what it is with the serialized cards now. And, we'll see what they do in the coming years and stuff and how much better they get. But it's likely not going to get too much better for a long time unless they shorten the print run and kind of make less of them and give it time to cool off. It's just it kind of is what it is. There's only like 33-ish thousand Magic cards, so they're kind of hard capped at a certain point until they have to start redoing serialized cards. And if they start doing 60 to 100 per set, even if they keep it lowball and do it 50, you got 20 sets per 1,000. I guess they got a lot of runway they can go with it, but they're gonna burn a lot of them really quick if they start doing 200, 300, 400 cards a year in serialized editions, and it's just eventually they're going to run out of them. I just don't know what they're going to do. It'll be interesting. But yeah, so the collection that I was looking at buying, right, it's a pretty big graded lot. I'm going to be honest, I don't know if I want it. Like, I do, but I don't. Graded assets in Magic right now are very, very hard to move. It's even like from December, right? I had that huge commission. I have a pile of them right here, actually. Like, these are all, pop 1 and 2 Silver Age slabs, like Weatherlight. This is a really nice slab. Mercadian Masks. Most of these are like quad pluses. In the bull market of 2021, 2020-ish era, these would be selling all day for $300-$400 a piece. And, now I can't get someone to look at them for less than $200. And I'm not gonna bone the person that gave me the commission for this, because like I know what they want, and I know what the market is moving for right now. I had a huge lot of Legends, Quad Bazaar at Baghdad, a 10 Force of Will, a Wall of Spears, which is like a pop 9 card. There's only 9 of them. It's incredibly hard to grade. It's one of the hardest cards to grade in Antiquities, actually. And a Triskelion in Antiquities. The Quad Bazaar of Baghdad sold for 15K in like February. I got offered for 53 Legends slabs, the Quad Bazaar, the 2 Antiquities, and the 10 minus the 10 Force of Will. I got offered 40K for all of that. That's like $105,000 to $110,000 in slabs in December of last year. The graded market is just brutalized right now, and it's really unfortunate because the graded market will recover, but it's going to take a lot of capital and it's going to take some time. So when this lot of graded cards came to me, there was beta in there, there's unlimited, there was Antiquities. Like, this is not, oh, let me go pull a pile of modern cards and slap it in some slat. No, this was like some good quality Magic. Like, there was quads, 9/5 quads, 9/5 basics. Like, there's good stuff in here. Like, a bunch of 9s in Antiquities, and Antiquities and 9s that's good. That's good money. Like, they're not easy to 9 even. You've seen on the channel, we open them, and there's fisheye print dots, there's corner damage, they're diamond cut, they're 4 feet off to the left, 6 feet to the right. The forehead looks like a billboard on the card. Like, it's just so bad condition. Like, it's just, 9s are good in the Four Horsemen. Like, unironically, like, they actually are. They don't have a huge premium, but like a 9 in a Four Horsemen set is kind of money. And it's one of those things where even though I had the option, I think the retail appraisal that when we looked at it was like 23, 24-ish. Honestly, with this market, I wouldn't feel comfortable being in it for like anything over 10 or 12. And 12, I'm still, 12 is a little uncomfortable, I'm going to be honest. And, in my head, I'm like, okay, I'm going to sell it for like 18 to 17 optimistically, which means I need to sell like 60 to 70% of it to cover my cost basis. But that means I have to sell 60 to 70% of a $24,000 lot below market value to recoup my money. And like, that's just like really uncomfortable. Like, that's something that I would buy and be like, okay, I bought this for like 12. I'm not selling this for 3 years until I can get 30 for it. And given some of the stuff I have in the works right now with some of the big deals, and I'll record some of the stuff for you guys when I finally get it. That's why I'll do like a really short market update video next week for some funsies for last month. But I have a big purchase coming up, and I just don't know if buying graded right now is the best place to go. I think sealed is better. Loose raw singles is better. If you can get graded for below raw pricing, then that's the perfect world, right? If you can pick up like a BGS 8.5 Lotus for near mint pricing or just slightly over, this is the time to buy that stuff. Like, this is the time to get that stuff, because these are going to be some of the best prices you'll see in a very long time. It may go up or down 5 or 10% from here, depending on how the market does. But 10% in the grand scheme of things over 3 to 5 years, when it goes up another 300% or whatever the next bull run does, that you're going to be hindsight 2020, like, dang, I should have bought that Lotus for 20, or I should have bought whatever for 5 or 4 or 3. Oh, my wife just got home. But yeah, guys, it's, be careful out there. Watch what you're buying. My recommendation is to stay away from the serialized cards. Get them if you like them, but don't get them to think you're going to make money. And honestly, the same thing for graded right now. Don't buy it to make quick money. Buy it to sit on it for 2 to 3 years, because it's just going to take that long to come back to a healthy market point. All right, guys, a bit of a long one today, but I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye. Oh, have fun looking at my ceiling too, because why not?